When we teach mindfulness, when we're using words, they're just a form of thought in a way. And what we're teaching in mindfulness is not just about thoughts, but about the awareness behind them and that which is beyond thoughts and feelings. And so metaphors are a powerful way to point towards that which is beyond thoughts. We're talking about the use of metaphors in mindfulness classes. This is the Teach Mindfulness podcast, and my name is Shamash Aladina. So, how do you use metaphors in a mindfulness class to help your students learn about mindfulness? Well, you can do it in two ways. First of all, you can share a metaphor, and that metaphor can be used just to teach a certain concept. For example, one classic one that I was using this morning with a meditation class actually is that the idea that you are the sky, as in you are awareness, and the thoughts and feelings and sensations you have is merely the weather. And so the weather is always changing, the clouds are coming and going, as are your thoughts and feelings. But you're bigger than that. The sky is almost like the container for the weather. And then you can keep developing it. You can ask them what their internal weather is. So you can build on that metaphor, and they can say it's cloudy or rainy or sunny or sunshine and showers or foggy. It's a lovely way to encourage the students to start cultivating mindfulness. And this is actually a good technique to use with children as well. You could sit them in a circle and say, okay, what's your internal weather? And it's good for the child themselves to share it, or the adult. But it's also good for the others listening, because it makes them realize that, okay, everyone's actually in a different internal weather state than I first realized. And it also cultivates empathy and compassion, because you start to see, oh, that person seems to be going through a really stormy time. No wonder they're behaving that way or acting that way. So that's a powerful little metaphor. So a metaphor like that can be used when you're teaching a certain concept, like you're the observing self, rather than just the thoughts and feelings. You're creating a more flexible sense of who they are, rather than just their thoughts. But it can also be used within the meditation itself. So you could use that metaphor, and you could gently, as you're guiding the meditation, remind them, okay, what would it be like if you were like the sky and the thoughts and feelings were like the clouds? Can you observe your thoughts right now and maybe place them on the clouds and watch the clouds pass by? You create what I was teaching you earlier about diffusion, cognitive diffusion. You help people to unhook from their thoughts, an important skill of mindfulness that we learn from ACT. So there's one example of a metaphor. I just mentioned ACT, acceptance and commitment training, and a very popular one and a very helpful one is the passengers on the bus metaphor. And I'll just share it briefly with you right now. So imagine you are the driver of a bus, and you've got a certain location. So you put that location at the top of your bus, and you're driving the bus around, and you've got passengers on this bus. And these passengers, some of them are very friendly and nice, but a lot of them are not. Some of them are angry, some of them are critical towards you, some of them are constantly complaining about your driving. Some of them are saying you're not good enough. And you try to fight these passengers, you try to push them off, but as soon as you try fighting them, first of all, you stop driving your bus. And secondly, the more you fight them, the more they fight back. And so you just end up getting into lots of fights, and your bus is going nowhere. Whenever you drive your bus towards where you really want to go, the direction of your dreams, your values, whatever gives you meaning, they complain even more. They get even louder and louder. They don't actually physically hurt you, but they get louder and louder. And so most of the time, if you want to avoid that, you just keep going on the same usual route. Very boring, very mechanical, very much in your comfort zone. And although we call it the comfort zone, it's not very comfortable, because it's the same old thing again and again. And we go around, so you could share a little metaphor like that, and then you could ask the group, what do they think of it? What do they think it means? Sometimes it helps not to explain it too much, actually. I was reading a book on metaphors the other day, and just letting the students come to their own conclusions can make it more powerful. But in that particular metaphor, the passengers represent your thoughts. And we have all these thoughts or seeming characters in our minds that are telling us what to do and what not to do. But they're characters, they're not who you are. You get to decide where to go. And our thoughts are telling us all sorts of things, but we don't have to listen to them. And although they may get louder at certain points, they can't actually hurt us in the usual sense of the word. And so you can drive in the direction of whatever gives you meaning and purpose. You may hear more self-critical thoughts, you may feel more fear, but you'll be going in the direction of what's meaningful for you. And then you'll find that they do kind of die down a bit as well. So there's another metaphor that you can use. And there's many more. I won't share any more right now, but there's lots that can be found online. There's a book on, I think it's called Act Metaphors. You can check it out. And you could even just search online and you'll find metaphors that you can use in mindfulness. And the really fun ones are when you develop your own metaphors. Once you start to understand mindfulness more, you can find examples in your everyday life and use those metaphors. It's even better if, let's say, you're working one-to-one with someone and you link the metaphor with what their interest is or what their job is. If they're an artist, maybe you can use some art metaphor. If they're an accountant, maybe you can use some metaphor involving numbers and spreadsheets. Anything's possible. So yeah, that's some ideas and some thoughts about the power and use of metaphor in mindfulness. Thanks for listening to the Teach Mindfulness podcast. If you want to find out more, check out my website. I've got a free every day for 7 days. You get a free email with information about mindfulness on shamashaladina.com. Or if you want to learn to teach mindfulness, you can check out teachmindfulnessonline.com. Or you can just listen to this podcast. Thanks so much for listening and see you in the next one.